Yo, yo, what's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday, November 30th, 2023, and welcome to a post Survivor Series edition of what we call the Clash of Champions. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Kurt Cadet, aka Conscious Kurt in the flesh as always, and my co host needs no introduction, but fuck it, he's gonna give y'all one anyway. Tell him who you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is tag team partner none other than the adventurer himself, Jonathan Randall, and you can follow our podcasts on both our social media platforms on Instagram at champs.clash and on Twitter at the Champs Clash. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving. I know I enjoyed my Thanksgiving this past weekend, but like everybody else, I'm a firm believer of second helpings because, boy, we got second helpings this past Saturday at Survivor Series.
Oh, yes, we did. Survivor Series this past Saturday was one crazy ass show. Probably one of the best Survivor Series I've seen in years. It featured some crazy ass matches, crazy ass spots, and a lot of surprise returns, which we'll get into a little later. But we're going to break down the review of everything that happened at Survivor Series, and we're going to start off by the opening match, which was the women's WarGames match consisting of Team Bianca, which was Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Shotzi against Damage Control consisting of Bayley, the women's champion Io Sky, Asuka, and Kairi Sane.
Boy, you know what? I kind of knew they were going to put this match on first. You have to put on the first War Games match. Start off the night in a good way. And damn, it was a very good match. Good way to start it. Crazy bumps. Crazy scenarios in this matchup.
Yeah, a lot of crazy bumps, a lot of crazy spots. But the main story they were teasing throughout the match was the tension between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. And they especially teased that the night before on SmackDown when there was miscommunications between them in the tag match. And even throughout this match, they were kind of weren't, seeing eye to eye for the most part. So that would be a story that was told as it went on. But some of the high spots that did happen throughout this match was Io Sky jumping from the top of the cage with a fucking trash can over her on top of everybody else. And yo, that shit was fucking insane. That Chicago crowd lost
Crazy.
their mind when that spot happened.
I'm telling you right now, I'm surprised that she was able to. She had a good landing spot. I don't know how the hell she was able to see that trash can on top of her like that. But yeah, man, that was a crazy ass spot. Like you said, like you pointed out. One thing you did mention about how Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch at first were not seeing eye to eye with each other, and that was going on since backstage for years, and also it was evident on SmackDown the week prior. But that was going to be somewhat of a turning point in this matchup, and it really, worked out because they were on a cohesive team unit with each other.
Yes, and after they did a double power bomb spot, the two of them just looked at each other, and then the two of them just hugged, and the crowd went crazy when they hugged each other. And yeah, seeing the two of them hug was nice, man. I remember them being like really close years ago, and just to see them do that at least on screen was a beautiful thing. And some other beautiful things included the moonsault that Charlotte did from the top of the cage onto everybody, and one crazy sick ass spot was when Damage Control tied up Bianca and Becky back to back and put them in the middle of the ring. And all four of them went from all four corners of the ring and drop kicked the both of them. And I saw Bianca's Instagram story and she posted a picture of herself with the look on her face as that spot was about to happen. And yo, that shit was priceless.
I bet you that the look on her face was very genuine and priceless by what happened, man, and I wouldn't blame her for that.
Yeah, that was the look the Joker had on his face at the end of Batman when he fell from the ladder.
Oh man.
Bayley was one of the MVPs of her team as she saved Damage Control from losing the match multiple times. She really put in work throughout this match, and you could definitely tell that she was a valuable part of Damage Control. But ultimately, Team Bianca got the advantage as Asuka tried to spray the mist, but she missed, and then Bianca Belair sprayed her with a fucking fire extinguisher. Crazy. Of all the years Asuka's been spraying the mist at everyone, somebody finally thought of using a fire extinguisher on her. Ain't that some shit?
Right. I mean, that's what I'm like I was saying, man. Good way to counter that, like karma on her part, be a good way to counter that. you get a taste of your own medicine now. But I like that scenario. That was a good spot, and I love that.
And Bailey was left all alone with all four members of Bianca's team, and they all four had their way with her. And it ultimately led to Becky hitting Bailey from the top rope through a table with the man slam, getting the pin and the win for Team Bianca. And damn, this was one hell of a way to open Survivor Series, and holy shit, was it incredible.
Yes, very incredible. Like I said, man, you need to have a good match to start the night. That match in particular. I don't know what other match you would put on, other than that to start it.
And apparently, the women's War Games match in Survivor Series was the most viewed opening match of the year or
Oh
premium
wow.
live event.
Oh wow. Oh nice, nice.
Yeah, it was a crazy ass match, but I got the prediction wrong. I did say that Team Damage
We
Control,
both
we
did.
both said Team Damage Control was going to win, but they did not win. And I did not mind it, especially with the Charlotte and Becky reuniting throughout the match. Once that happened, I knew they were going to win.
Yeah, like I said before, man. I think those two was going to determine the outcome of it because if they weren't seeing eye to eye on each other, I don't think they were going to win. Now, other thing you need to add out and be mindful of goes for everybody else. We got to watch out for Bailey. There's something is going to happen. They may kick Bailey out of the group, which results of Bailey turning babyface.
What do you mean may kick her out of the group? They are going to kick her out of the group. That shit is inevitable, son.
No, I'm just saying you got to watch out for it, man.
If they don't kick her out, maybe on SmackDown this week, it's going to be by the end of the year. Shit is only a matter of time.
I'm telling you, 2024 is going to be hot, man.
Oh, hot like fire. And I like the fact that all four of them celebrated while sitting on top of the cage. And they were all doing like the tea time symbol that Charlotte and Becky used to do all those years ago. From seeing that, and also the fact that Charlotte and Becky sat together with the press conference afterwards, I can tell that they're probably friends again.
Okay, well that's good. That's good to see, and that tension that they had. How long was that? How long was that going on, man? Like what? 2 years, 3 years almost.
I heard it started right after that SummerSlam when Becky turned. Like, remember that SummerSlam when like Becky slapped Charlotte and beat her up after that triple threat match that in 2018?
Yeah.
Like when Becky first became the man character.
Holy crap! Yeah, that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, from what I heard around that time, Becky, like in a promo, referred to Charlotte as being plastic, and Charlotte was very upset about that comment. So apparently, ever since then, things were kind of not the same. And around that time, like Charlotte started dating Andrade, then Becky started dating Seth. So that also kind of got between them because they both had relationships. And then
Right.
obviously what happened 2 years ago with that one infamous segment on SmackDown where they did the belt swap bullshit, and then they got into an argument backstage afterwards. So yeah, that's kind of like how it's been going between them the last few years. But I guess maybe behind the scenes they squashed it recently, and from what I saw in the match and afterwards, it seems like they're friends again, and I fucks with that.
That's good. That's really good to see that stuff. You don't want to see stuff like that, but it look in wrestling business that happens, man. But it's always good to see, when tensions are, cleared away.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes time heals all wounds, and looks like it happened in this case. All right, but moving on, we had a backstage segment promoting the Ruffles Chips WWE sponsor, which we saw like plastered on the show throughout the night. And they had Alpha Academy a part of the segment, and Tozawa and all of them. And showing up during this segment was the returning R-Truth.
Yeah. Just snuck up, came out of nowhere. I was like, where's he been at, man? But yeah, it was good to see him. He's always whenever you watch wrestling, even before our time, Kurt, we always had that comedy sketches in between, comedy segments during the show. You know what I mean? R-Truth is a big part of that.
Yeah, you always need those kind of characters on the show, and he always brings that comedy factor to it. He even made Brock Lesnar laugh.
Yeah. I remember that.
There was like a bet. I think there was like a bet between Vince and Heyman if R-Truth could make Lesnar laugh, and he actually pulled it off.
Holy crap.
Yeah, but happy to see him back. He tore his ACL a while ago. He's been out ever since, and yeah, I'm glad that he made his return.
That's good, man. That's good that he recovered and he's back on the roster. So
I remember that time he thought he was like in the Money in the Bank match, and then Kane had to say like, "Bro, you're talking about the wrong match." He's like, "Oh shit, I'm not in the Money in the Bank match."
Oh my
Okay,
lord,
never mind.
I remember that.
Oh
I
shit.
think that's probably has to be like the funniest thing he ever did. I was like, he there was a Royal Rumble match and he thought it was a Money in the Bank. That yeah, that's pretty funny.
So in our next match, we had the Ring General Gunther defending his
Yes,
Intercontinental title against The Miz.
yes, and I said last week this is a match that I was looking forward to, and it was a very good match. It was a very old school. The way that I saw this match, Kurt, was a very old school type of style match. Why? Because Miz was using ring psychology. He was going after Gunther's leg throughout the whole match, and I like that. I like watching matches like that. But it was not enough. I knew that Gunther was going to win, and he did. But overall, I mean, it was a decent match, and I liked it for what it was.
Yeah, Miz actually came close to winning at one point. You actually almost
Yeah.
thought he was going to win, but was
Yes.
not to be. And Gunther ultimately won the match with a splash to Miz's back from the top rope and also the walls of Jericho,
Mm-hmm. Modified Boston Crab.
which forced Miz to tap out. And it's funny, if he had won the title in this match, Miz would have tied Chris Jericho for the amount of Intercontinental title reigns, but it was not to be.
Oh, wow! I did not know that. I didn't realize Miz had won an Intercontinental title that many times. Wow. I know Jericho won it a lot. My God, but I didn't realize Miz won that title that many times.
Yes, he did win it that many times. And it's so ironic. He was about to tie Jericho and he lost by Jericho's finisher.
Crazy. Yeah, and you know what's another crazy thing? In the same building where Jericho made his WWE debut.
Yes, sir. That's exactly where it happened.
Wow.
And so moving on to our next match, we had Santos Escobar taking on Dragon Lee. And it was originally supposed to be Carlito in this match, but the night before on SmackDown, they did an angle where Santos Escobar attacked Carlito, putting him out of action and making him unable to compete. So Dragon Lee ended up taking his place.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't like that. I wish Carlito would still have been on the card. I don't know what was the whole point of it. I don't know if it was to put more heat on Santos Escobar, but I don't know. I thought that was just weird to do that, man.
I wasn't against it at first because I thought it would be a better match with Dragon Lee and Santos Escobar, especially considering that Dragon Lee's been killing it lately. But unfortunately, we did not get that better match that I thought we were going to get. This match was kind of short. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like really anything memorable. And ultimately, Santos Escobar ended up winning the match. No surprise because he just turned and he's building momentum right now. So is what it is.
I know it's the chemistry thing that I was concerned about because you got to remember that's how it all started because Carlito accused Santos Escobar of doing this and doing that. That's how the whole thing started. So I thought pulling him out of the match would have been, for a chemistry storyline wise, I thought that was weird. Like I said, I mean, Santos Escobar was going to win regardless, though. But you got to look at the bigger picture of it. It's like, I mean, for storyline chemistry wise, it's like you kind of like messed it up. So I don't know what they're going to do moving forward. I don't know. Maybe they'll have that runoff of they're going to finally put Santos versus Carlito maybe on SmackDown. I don't know. But hey, I don't know. I thought it was weird.
Yeah, it is what it is, but Santos Escobar won, further building momentum for his heel turn, which will ultimately lead to a match with Ray at WrestleMania, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And in our next match for the women's world title, we had Mommy Rhea Ripley defending her title against Zoe Stark.
Rhea Ripley had a different look, different attire going on that night.
Yes, Shawn Michaels vibes. Yeah, a lot of Shawn Michaels vibes.
Not just that, but also the makeup too. She had a Heath Ledger Joker makeup going on a little bit on her lips, if you notice.
Yeah, she did. And the funny thing about it was, even though Zoe Stark was the baby face and Rhea Ripley was the quote-unquote heel, it did not seem that way according to the Chicago crowd because they were behind Rhea Ripley 100%.
This is not a surprise to me. I know how the Chicago crowd is. I think everybody knows. They'll cheer for whoever they want or just randomly just cheer for a heel at times. And that was the case on that night. But, I mean, that's how it is.
I mean, Rhea, in all honesty, is one of the biggest characters, not just female wise, but period, on the whole show and in the entire company.
Oh
So
yeah.
it
Oh
makes
yeah.
sense. She's had a great year, and that great year continued on this night as she retained the title over Zoe Stark with the Riptide. No surprise. And yes, Rhea Ripley is still your champion.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, to our final match of the night. It was the men's War Games match. Was between the team of Cody Rhodes, Seth freaking Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Randy Orton versus the team Judgment Day by Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and J.D. McDonough.
And also Drew McIntyre.
And also Drew McIntyre, yes. But as everybody made their way into their, respective, team cages, Randy Orton did not show up.
Yes, they were teasing that throughout the night where everybody was asking Cody from his team, like, yo, where's Randy? Randy's not here. Yeah, because throughout the whole night, Randy wasn't there, and everybody was suspicious about it. Even Jey Uso was blaming himself because of, the fact that it was the bloodline that put Randy Orton out storyline-wise in the first place, so he was blaming himself. And Seth Rollins was pissed at Cody. Seth Rollins was, like, yelling at Cody, saying, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And Cody kept assuring him that he would be there. But the match is about to start, and there's still no sign of Randy Orton.
No, man.
But the match begins. It's pretty fun for the most part. And then ultimately, it leads to Dominic being the last person from Judgment Day to be let out of the cage, who got a horde of boos, no surprise. And I like the line that Michael Cole said, where he said, this is the longest Dominic's ever stayed inside of a cage.
Right. He even got booed like before he even got let out of the cage. They were chanting, Doms, you suck.
It would make sense for him to be the last one, but I did like how Judgment Day all came out with those matching masks. That shit was dope.
Oh, yeah. I would notice. That was dope.
Yeah, but the match goes on, and there's still no sign of Randy Orton. And when it's time for Randy Orton to come out for being the last person for his team, Rhea Ripley comes out with the Money in the Bank briefcase for Damian Priest to cash it in. But as it's about to be cashed in, Randy Orton's music hits to one of the loudest pops I've heard in a very, very long time. Well, up until a few minutes later, but we'll get into that. But yes, Randy Orton comes out looking jacked as ever, gets a huge pop, standing ovation, comes into the War Games match, and the War Games officially begin. And he goes on a tear, son. He goes on a tear.
Absolutely.
And then there's this one spot where Randy Orton and Jey Uso are face to face, and Randy Orton's not sure if he can trust him. But then as Damian Priest is about to lunge at them, Jey Uso kicks Damian Priest in the face, showing that Randy could trust him. And then Dominic tries to lunge at them, and then he gets hit with an RKO by Randy Orton. And then one of my favorite spots of the whole match is when Randy, Sami Zayn, Rollins, Jey Uso, and Cody Rhodes all do the Randy Orton like DDT from the second rope spot.
I love that spot. That was a dope spot.
Oh, that was great. I fucking love that spot.
Mm-hmm.
And they bring J.D. McDonough to the top of the cage, and then they ultimately throw him off the top of the cage for Randy Orton to hit him with the RKO. That shit was nasty, son.
Oh, yeah. When I saw him on the top of the cage, I kind of knew, they're going to throw him to Randy for an RKO. So I knew that was going to happen, but just seeing it was a thing of beauty.
Yes, and it ultimately led to Cody hitting Damian Priest with the Crossroads to get the pin, the win for his team, and Team Cody wins the War Games. Just like his father's team first did in the original one in 1987, Cody in his very first War Games match got the pin for his team, and it was a good moment. Especially seeing all five of them raise each other's hands at the end. It was nice.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, absolutely. And how crazy. Can we just go back to, Rhea coming out with the briefcase? Damn, really? Wow, they really were gonna wow, they're really gonna go through with this. But thank God Orton came in there in the nick of time to save the day for them.
I figured he would. I figured he was. Yeah. I knew he was gonna show up for sure, but the way they were teasing it, I liked how they pulled that off.
That was just kind of crazy in a way. I was like, well, I'll be damn. Oh man, it's just really funny how Rhea really just inserts herself into this storyline with the other men. I love it. It just reminds me back with China back in the day. You know what I mean? I loved it. But yeah, So yes, ladies and gentlemen. So Cody Rhodes' team won and victorious, and it was a good way to send the Chicago crowd home. And it looked like Survivor Series is literally about to be over. And I, in the back of my mind, was like, "Oh yeah, they're not okay. Yeah, so it's not going to happen." Okay, I was like, "Okay, cool. It's not going to happen." But damn, I will never believe what I did about a second later, Kurt. You probably felt the same way. And ladies and gentlemen, you guys felt the same way too. Literally, just a second later, Cult of Personality plays. And I'm telling you right now, the crowd in that arena erupted. I froze, speechless. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, Cult of Personality played. And out of the stage, for the first time in almost 10 years, CM Punk makes his return to the WWE. Kurt, your thoughts?
It was a surprise. I could kind of tell something was going to happen because they did put the copyright box on the screen, and the way the camera angle was going, like, away from the ring, like, the wide shot of the whole arena. I had a feeling something was going to happen. I'm like, yo, it says the show's over, but I have a feeling it's not over. So I had a feeling something was going to go down. And then when the CM Punk graphic came on the screen and the Cult of Personality dropped, I'm like, oh shit, it's actually happening. It's fucking happening. And then he came out, got the crazy ass reaction. No surprise. He started high-fiving the fans. Like, this one fan was hugging him saying, Chicago, Chicago, Chicago. And yeah, it was nuts, bro. It was fucking nuts. And I didn't know for sure it was going to happen because we heard those rumors for months that WWE wasn't interested in him, especially considering how his run in AEW ended. So I had the mentality that it probably won't happen, but until Survivor Series is over, I won't believe it for sure. And lo and behold,
That's what I said.
right literally when the show is about to end, the motherfucker comes out.
I'm gonna make this one point. I'm gonna say 95% of me was shocked. There's a 5% that wasn't. And here's why. So I remember, I think it was that Friday. I believe it was like the day before. I was on Twitter and somebody had posted comments saying how on Apple Music or on Spotify, they're saying how Living Color, the band that sings The Cult of Personality, they release kind of like a newer version of Cult of Personality. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute. Why are they? I was like, I kind of like paused there for a moment. I'm like, they release another kind of version of that song. And I sent it to Danny. You remember Danny, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I sent it to him. And I was like, dude, do you see this? I kind of like, again, I didn't want to, assume or just, think, but I was just, a part of me was like, why would they do that? You know what I mean? Because when you heard his song, Kurt, it's a little more different. The bass, the drums is a little bit more different than the original one. I could easily tell. So when I saw that, I was like, there's something's going on, but I don't want to jump ahead or anything like that. And to my surprise, that was the reason. They were able to get, I don't think Punk was able to get like any kind of rights from the song. So I guess maybe he had Living Color do like a maybe like a newer version, structured version of the song. That's probably could have been the reason why. But with that being said, it was the next day. I woke up the next morning and I was like, oh my God, like CM Punk really did come back to the WWE after all that stuff that he said. Everything from just booking and how toxic the environment was, and him getting fired on his wedding day and talking about he'll never come back to the WWE, and him going, the MMA, and then him going to AEW and all that stuff. It was just, my God, it was just a whole full like timeline for almost 10 years. And I always said to myself, man, what if, CM Punk ever came back to WWE? I even dreamed about that. You know what I mean? I just felt, I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. The only thing I have to say is that I hope WWE is doing the right thing, because let's not forget CM Punk's track record, especially with just what happened with AEW. That's my concern. You know what I mean? And I don't want the WWE, I don't want Punk himself to screw up this opportunity, because you got to remember, in 2 months we have the Royal Rumble coming up, and then after that we're heading off to WrestleMania. WrestleMania 40, Kurt, is going to be bigger than ever now. Way bigger than ever. You have Randy Orton and you have CM Punk back. My God.
Yeah, Punk coming back definitely makes WrestleMania season a lot more interesting. It makes the product a lot more interesting. And I know I've been very critical about him these last few months, and I still stand by a lot of the things I said. But I'm not going to lie. I will be honest. It does spice things up. And that's not a bad thing when it comes to wrestling. Surprises are not a bad thing.
You always want to think about the company. You always want to think about the business and revenue and all that stuff. And look, I just hope they're doing the right thing. I hope Punk doesn't screw this up. I really hope he doesn't, because when you really think about it, Kurt, he has not yet to be in a main event of WrestleMania with how popular he is, especially how he was, like almost 10 years ago. You know what I mean? He was a champion. He was never in the main event of WrestleMania. He has opportunity to fulfill that going into next year. Now, another thing I wanted to add, that this happened off the air, which was pretty funny to me and crazy at the same time, with the whole entire Chicago crowd just amazed and happy that CM Punk returned to the WWE. There was one person, or I should say 2 people maybe, that weren't happy about CM Punk returning, and that is Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. As soon as the show went off the air, Drew McIntyre stormed out of the ring and went into the locker room and left the arena.
Well, that happened before Punk came out.
That happened. I know that was before Punk came out, but everybody was making that speculation. Oh my God, it could have been because of that. But the bigger story was Seth Rollins' reaction. Seth Rollins was literally chirping at Punk from a distance, flipping up the middle finger, to the point where security had to kind of restrain him. Even Michael Cole and Corey Graves had to hold him back. Did not look happy at all. And everybody was talking about, is this real? Is this a work? Just back and forth, man, 50-50.
Yes, Rollins was losing his fucking mind. He was throwing a tantrum. He was acting like the Bears just lost the Super Bowl or something. That's how pissed off he was.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but it came out that everybody in the WarGames match was told right before they went out that Punk was going to be coming out at the end. So it wasn't like a surprise like that. I'm sure he's probably not happy about it to a degree, but that reaction we saw from the video footage, I'm sure that's definitely just a part of it. I'm sure that's definitely a part of what they're going to do in the next few months.
Probably, people were saying it was a work. Some people were saying it was true. And you got to remember, if it is a work, you got to remember, you have to go back to what Seth Rollins has been saying about Punk over the past, I don't know, was it a year or so, year and a half, about how he doesn't want to work with him and how, toxic, he makes the work environment, all that stuff. So I think they're going off of that. But just seeing that, it really questions you about, man, was this really real, or is this a work? It really just plays with your mind like that, in a good way. You know what I mean? So it's very obvious that they're going to do something moving forward. So this is my prediction. I personally feel that it will be Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns for the title at Royal Rumble, since he still wants to, a lot of stuff that he still wants to deal with the bloodline, which we'll get into later. As for CM Punk and Rollins, I think they need to have their match at WrestleMania.
I think that's more than likely the destination. And as far as like how Rollins feels about Punk, I'm sure he probably isn't happy that Punk's there. And I'm sure there's probably maybe some truth to the way he, reacted. But he also like isn't that cool with Cody, and they worked together a couple years ago, and he lost to him 3 times in a row with that. So even if he's not happy with Punk being back, at the end of the day, he's professional, and if he's asked to work with Punk, he'll do it.
Yeah. And if they go with it, fingers crossed, I would love to see that because one, it will be a great match. Number two, Punk finally will have that main event spotlight at WrestleMania. It won't be night 2. It will be night 1 definitely though, but still the main event regardless. You're in the
And
night.
Rollins too. And Rollins has never main evented a WrestleMania technically either.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh my god, yeah, that's another. Yeah, that's another
They'll both
point.
get what
Yeah.
they want.
Oh my god. Yes, absolutely. And we just found out that was that same night. It was like the next day. The deal that Punk signed for was almost 7 years.
Oh, I didn't know all that. I thought it said just a multi-year deal. I didn't know it was 7 years.
Multi-year. It was about multi-year. It was like a range about 7 years almost. And also the other thing that they mentioned is how, I think they had everything blocked off where Punk, when he walked towards the ring that night, nobody knew about it.
Yeah, I give WWE and Triple H a lot of credit for keeping this a secret. It didn't leak.
Ooh,
Maybe
yeah,
people
like
could have maybe thought about it in the back of their mind, but it was definitely a genuine surprise.
I love that. You need that's how you're supposed to do. That's how you're supposed to conduct stuff in the wrestling business. You cannot let stuff, especially surprises like that. You can't be letting everybody know about that stuff, man. You gotta surprise your fans genuinely. Because if I would have known, oh yeah, Punk's coming back, and then he comes, I'm like, oh okay, yeah, like I knew, you know what I mean. There is no genuine, authentic feeling to it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it was a good feeling to see that. Got to keep things on the rug, man. I don't know how they did it, but they did a damn good job of doing it.
Yeah, props to WWE and Triple H for that. And Triple H even said at the press conference afterwards, talking about the whole thing that, times change, people change. And if you're the same person now that you were 10 years ago, then you messed up. And he also maintained that like Punk is a polarizing figure, and whether you like him or whether you don't like him, you still talk about him. And he's right. He's right. Whether you're a fan of Punk's or not, the dude still does draw interest. You have to give him that. That dude definitely knows how to get people talking about him, and that shit is a gift.
I'm telling you, man, like it was 2 years, 5 years after Punk had left WWE, fans were still chanting his name. Every time they go to Chicago, they'll chant his name. You know what I mean? So that just shows you, again, a polarizing figure he is, man. And I'm just glad to see him, man. And now I'm kind of a little bit, I want to go to WrestleMania now. And also, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I hope Monday Night Raw comes to Vegas soon, especially during the time, we're building up to WrestleMania, man. So I'm hoping for that, so I could go.
We'll see if it happens, but I will say this. This is Punk's last chance. He cannot afford to fuck this up. He cannot afford to get into any stupid arguments or stupid fights. And I even believe I heard a story that there's like a behavior clause in his contract.
Yeah, I heard about that too, and that's reasonable. You need to have that, especially
that makes sense. That makes sense because he left WWE 10 years ago on bad terms. He just left AEW on really bad terms. You better cover all your bases if you're WWE.
I'm telling, yeah, and I'm like I said, man. I just hope WWE is doing the right thing. Look, I want this to work out. This is a good thing for the business aspect on it because I'm telling you, WrestleMania is going to be huger than ever, man. And it goes to like a lot of things. And here's my biggest moral of our episode that I'm want to bring out to everybody. I've learned, and I should have known this, I truly know now in wrestling that you can never say never, because we have seen that in the past where grudges and I'm never going to do this, I'm never going to do that, but years later they turn out and you come back. You look at the situation with Bret Hart and Vince McMahon since Montreal, and they buried it. Also with Shawn Michaels, they buried it. Vince McMahon, Ultimate Warrior, had their differences. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon had their differences.
Yeah, but that situation wasn't as severe and like personal like the other
I
ones
know.
were.
Yeah, I know. But it's just you could never. I know it wasn't like severe, but you got to remember it's all about people walk away. You're at that moment, you think, oh, they're gone for good, and it really turns out it's not. They always come back. That's what I say. You could never say never.
The only one that never came back was Randy Savage.
Right.
But yes, that moment at Survivor Series was a clear example of how you should never say never in the wrestling business. And also, it was a clear indication that hell has frozen over.
Oh, yes, it did. And here's two things I want to point out. So, retaining to Survivor Series. So, this moment alone, and Survivor Series has a history of memorable moments. You talk about Undertaker's debut and Sting's debut. The WWE Montreal screw job, Austin getting run over the car. This easily, I think this moment in Montreal, they ranked up top Survivor Series moments, along with Undertaker's debut. I think top 3.
I would say it was between that and Montreal, it was the most shocking ending to a Survivor Series show.
Yeah.
And yes, CM Punk's return was the most social moment in WWE history.
Yes. It was the most viewed Survivor Series of all time. It was the largest gate in Survivor Series history. The most Survivor Series merchandise sales record hit its peak. Sponsorship revenue up 24% versus last year's.
Yeah, this show did work. It was a great show with Punk's return at the end being the icing on the cake. And like I said before, I know I've been critical of Punk the last few months. I don't want to say I'm a fan of his really like that, but I am in a sense happy that he's back, and I do hope that it works. I'm not rooting for him to fail. I'm not rooting for him to mess up or get into trouble. I sincerely hope that he has his head on straight a lot more, that he's willing to check his attitude at the door, and that things run a lot more smoothly. I sincerely hope that this run is a success, because if this run is a success, then all of us benefit from it. Everybody benefits from it.
I tell you what, though, I'm buying his shirt. I like his new shirt, which he debuted the next night on Raw.
Which is currently the highest selling t-shirt in WWE right now.
I know. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But I tell you what, though, man, I'm look, I've always been a CM Punk fan, despite with, his antics and how difficult he is, backstage and all that stuff. I've always been a fan of him. And look, I hope he's right. And you are right, Kurt. This is his last chance. And I'm hoping and praying that he, really, takes some accountability to this, man, because he has a lot on his, not a lot on his plate. He has a lot in front of him right now. You literally came in at the right time. Royal Rumble is literally 2 months away, and in just blink of an eye, WrestleMania will be faster than you know it. He has a big opportunity in front of him, man, and I don't want him to screw this up. I would dream to see him in the main event at WrestleMania. I would love to see that.
Yeah, but the other factor that we also have to consider is that how healthy he can stay, because in AEW he got hurt a lot.
Oh, that is true. That is true, because he got hurt twice in AEW. That is true.
Yeah, so hopefully, that's not an issue.
Man.
And also there's the factor of how people in the locker room feel about him. I'm sure there's some people that are happy that he's back, but I'm sure there's probably a lot of other people, specifically ones at the top, who probably aren't so happy that he's back. And I know with him being back and him more than likely probably doing the match with Rollins at Mania, somebody's going to lose their spot over that. And that person's probably not going to be in a good mood for that by any stretch.
Well, could we go ahead and jump to Raw then?
Yeah, we can jump into Raw. So on Raw,
Be-
the first hour was commercial free, and it featured the return of Randy Orton. He was like high fiving fans, and he was signing autographs and stuff. And then Rhea Ripley actually came out to interrupt him and like kind of getting in his face a little bit. And then Randy Orton kind of like cut her off, saying, "All I hear about is mommy this and mommy that, but guess what? Daddy's home now." Love that line.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, oh my God, you should have, there are two things. Number one, you should have saw the look on Rhea's face. Dude, you saw the look on her face, Kurt.
I don't really remember it by heart, but I'll check it out again. But keep going.
It was, Kurt, it was the sign of fear. As soon as Orton told her that daddy's back, that whole confidence, that facade, oh, that swag, that Rhea, that mammy, vibe that she be, rubbing off, it literally just broke down. Her facial expression said it all, that I'm screwed. I'm telling you right now, Orton, coming back in is literally like putting her and everybody else in check right now, especially, I'm speaking about a Judgment Day. But I'm telling you right now, Rhea Ripley's going to get RKO. She's going to get hers. And I'm telling you, the crowd's going to go nuts when it happens.
Yeah, it'll happen eventually. But there's some segments set up a match for later that night between Randy Orton and Dominic Mysterio, which Randy Orton ended up winning. No surprise, it's his first match back. And Randy Orton actually had help winning the match by a country singer by the name of Jelly Rolls, who was sitting in the front row.
Yeah, my girlfriend is a big fan of her. She listens to a lot of country, so she knows who Jelly Roll is. So yeah, they were in Nashville, by the way, and yeah, got got him in, interfered. It's always good to see celebrities though, but yeah.
Yeah, he shoved down Dominic Mysterio, and that ultimately led to Randy Orton hitting Dominic with the RKO, getting the win. Expected it, considering it's Randy's first match back on Raw. It's a nice way to, reintroduce him to the show. And also on Raw, we had a segment between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, where during the segment, Seth Rollins mentioned that this coming Monday on Raw, he will be defending the title against not Drew McIntyre, but Jey Uso.
Yeah. And before that even happened, Seth was kind of like, let's get the elephant out of the room. Everybody was all CM Punk. Oh, yeah, but he was trying to play it off like, I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, even at the house show, the night before, he said something after his match.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
He was saying, I don't want to give any more time to that dude than he deserves. That dude left 10 years ago.
Building up for next year.
Yeah, but ultimately this announcement did not sit well with Drew McIntyre, to the point where he actually headbutted Rollins and attacked him, beat the hell out of him. And even as a result of headbutting him, he had kind of like a cut on his nose a little bit.
Yeah, I saw that, man. That was crazy. Yeah.
I can definitely tell in the match on Monday with Seth and Jey Uso that Drew's going to interfere and cost Jey Uso the title. And I think this is going to lead to Seth and Drew at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, that's the perfect way to go. Oh my God, I can't wait for next year. Jesus.
Yeah, but it was strange how Drew just randomly left the match after WarGames and just left the arena and was pissed off from what the reports were coming out about. And he also still hasn't signed a new deal with them.
And when does his contract expire again?
Around WrestleMania time, like March or April.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that, but I could definitely tell they're going in that direction with that feud. And in the main event segment, CM Punk made his first appearance on Raw since the Go Home Raw to the 2014 Royal Rumble. And if you were expecting a pipe bomb or expecting him to talk shit about AEW or the Elite, that did not happen, as he basically said that he was home and that he was once the voice of the voiceless, but with the way the fans were cheering for him for the last 10 years since he'd been gone, that they found their voice and that he was proud of them. And that he really didn't want to leave, but a wise man once told him that if he really wanted to get everything he needed out of WWE, that he would have to leave and eventually come back. And he said now he was back, he was home, he was happy. And as his promo was over, the money line that he said into the camera, like pretty much after the promo was over and the show was over, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money.
I think people who work a regular day job with some people are like that. So it's kind of relatable a little bit to some people, maybe. Oh man, but some people were kind of crapping on the segment. I don't know how you felt about it.
It was fine. It was kind of short from what I was expecting, but apparently the reason why it was short was because the Dominic and Randy Orton match ran a little longer than expected. So I get it, but yeah, I kind of expected him to like maybe take shots at certain people and certain things, but that didn't happen. But it was fine for what it was. He said all the right things, and he also said that he changed. He also said in the promo that he changed, quote unquote.
Yeah, and like I said, man, action speaks louder words. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens. So
yeah, as far as him saying that I've changed, I sincerely hope he has, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Yes. Another thing that happened on Raw, Cody Rhodes announced that he will be entering next year's Royal Rumble.
Yes, he will. He announced himself as the first entrant. And after this announcement, he was interrupted by Nakamura, who sprayed the mist in his face and attacked him. So from this, it's looking like Cody and Nakamura are going to feud for the next few months.
Yeah, man. I say it like this. I even tweeted this. This is the right step for Cody to do. As far as finishing the story, I don't mind seeing him win the Royal Rumble again next year. If this happens, because it will be the first time, since Stone Cold Steve Austin, where we had a wrestler to win back-to-back Royal Rumbles.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet since 97, 98.
Yeah. I mean, how else? I mean, if he does not win the Royal Rumble, I mean, how else are you going to do it?
Elimination Chamber, maybe?
Where they determine a number one contender, maybe?
Yeah, it could happen that way. But I think the favorites for the Royal Rumble are Cody Rhodes and also Punk.
True.
It's crazy now. WWE has like a main event scene that's more stacked than ever. It hasn't been this stacked in a long time.
I don't even remember. Oh my God, I don't even remember the last time it's been like this.
There's Cody, there's Roman, there's Punk, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, Damian Priest. You could throw in there too.
Yeah.
LA Knight.
Right.
But yeah, we do have SmackDown tomorrow night. And one of the things that will be taking place on SmackDown tomorrow is an appearance by Randy Orton. And I think more than likely he's going to confront the Bloodline. And this is going to lead to Roman and Randy Orton at the Royal Rumble, which I am down for.
Oh my
I am
God.
down for that.
Love it. Oh, hell yes. Hell to the yes. I'm down for it. Oh my God, that would be a damn good match. I would love to see that. They need to do it, make it happen. And also go back to CM Punk, Kurt. CM Punk is allowed to be on both Raw and SmackDown.
Oh, yes, that is true. He is allowed to be on both shows. Yes. So we could see him on SmackDown tomorrow night. It's very possible.
Yes.
And Roman's schedule came out for the next few months, and his next appearance on TV isn't gonna be until the 15th of December.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And one of his other appearances is going to be on the January 19th edition of SmackDown, which is going to be right here in the ATL. And I think I'm actually going to go to that show.
You better go to that. You better take hold of that, man. I don't know what you're waiting for.
I haven't been to a WWE show in over 4 years. The last WWE show I went to was that SmackDown where Bayley turned heel.
I'm telling you right now, man. Look, I'm hoping Raw comes to Vegas soon. Like during the time, January up until, leading up to Mania. As soon as I found out I'm going, I have to go. Especially with this news just came especially after what just happened last Saturday. I have to go.
Yeah, you should go, definitely. It also came out that Bryan Danielson was actually the head of the disciplinary committee that suggested to Tony Khan to let go of CM Punk.
Wow, so that's what I was hearing about. Okay, because I've been hearing a lot of Daniel Bryanson backlash lately, and I didn't have the time to do my research, but that's That's the news. Wow.
And Brian Danielson even put up a post saying, "My father always told me that the right thing to do isn't always the most popular, and it won't always get you a lot of friends, but it's still the right thing to do." And maybe he was referring to that.
Crazy.
And hey, I
Crazy.
know WWE's
Wow.
getting all the attention right now, and AEW is like really not looking good right now with all of this, but I still maintain that Tony Khan made the right decision by letting him go. In fact, he probably should have let him go the year before after that whole
Mm.
incident at the press conference.
Look, I'm not, no, and I said this before, I'm not going to, try to extend it, but I was not, I did not agree with Punk did. I thought it was very unprofessional. So that's all I have to say about it. But, again, I'm not justifying what Punk did, any of his actions or any of his toxic behavior in the back during his time with AEW.
And I've maintained, there's blame to go around for everyone in that situation. Punk deserves blame. Tony Khan deserves blame. Jack Perry deserves blame. The Elite deserve blame. Yeah, nobody was innocent in that whole scenario. But at the end of the day, he was the one who still got into multiple different incidents, multiple different fights. And you can't go around fighting employees. You cannot do that shit. No matter how big of a star you are, no matter how important you are, you can't do that shit. And look, it was a major loss for AEW to lose Punk. It definitely hit them hard, but they had to do it. They did not have a choice.
I know. But I tell you what, though, there was one segment on AEW the other night that really sparked things up. And that was between Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Did you see it?
Oh, yes, I did see it. It was very interesting. And it's official that they are going to be facing each other for the TNT title this coming Wednesday on Dynamite from Montreal.
Ooh. Oh, wow. I didn't know it was going to be in Montreal. Crazy.
Yeah, I figured they were going to save the match for later on, but since it's going to be in Canada next week, it's kind of, I guess, too good of an opportunity to pass up. So I get it. But yes, they did have a segment on Dynamite last night where Christian was referencing that Adam's mom was dead and also that Adam didn't have a father and how Christian's father was kind of Adam's father and how Christian's family made like kind of Adam a part of their family where they would go on vacations together, they would eat dinner together, have sleepovers. Christian's dad would discipline Adam as if he was like one of his own kids. So like in a sense, they were kind of like brothers and they're like brothers to each other. So he was like trying to bait him into teaming up with him again, like saying, "What do you say? Let's do it. Let's do it." And as Adam turned his back for a second, Christian tried to hit him with the TNT title, but Adam saw him coming, so he responded by hitting Christian with a low blow.
Yeah. And he saw that one coming.
And then he grabbed the mic and he picked up Christian and said, "Look at me when I talk to you." He said, "You better cherish that belt. You could sleep with it for all I care because next week it's coming home with me. And oh, by the way, one more thing before I leave. Go fuck yourself." And they didn't bleep it out. And they didn't bleep it out this time either. I was watching it on TV last night. They did not bleep it out.
I know.
Fuck.
Cold.
They bleeped it out a few seconds later, but it was too late.
Dude, that whole segment was cold. Edge just talking was just like, oh my God. Like it makes the anticipation so much better, man. He kind of got that one in on him finally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he definitely did. And now Christian lost all of his backup because Adam took them all out. So now they're going to have the match this Wednesday. But I think this is going to be the first match of a series. I don't think this is going to be like a one-off by any stretch.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But it should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. And also it came out that it's going to be official for at World's End on December 30th in Long Island. It is going to be MJF defending the AEW World title against Samoa Joe. But MJF does have a shoulder injury he's dealing with, and he is apparently in a lot of pain. And it's not really looking good right now. He is still going to do the show, but there's a good chance he may drop the title to Joe at World's End. It could happen.
Oh, damn. Let's see what happens, man. It's very unfortunate, man. And it's stuff like that happens, man. But it is unfortunate. We have to wait and see, man. When does World's End again?
December 30th. I'm actually going to be in New York that weekend. I could probably go to it.
Oh, yeah, you did. Oh, yeah, I heard that announcement that, yeah, you will be in New York, New Jersey for a while, right?
New Year's weekend and a few days after that, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's my best friend's birthday I haven't spent a birthday with them in 17 years, and that's actually the only birthday I've ever spent with both of them together. And I've known these dudes since
Nice.
2001.
Oh wow, it's been that long.
Yeah, because every year on their birthday, they would always be out of town or they wouldn't be living in the same place. So yeah, I never really got to spend a birthday with both of them except for one, and that was in 2006.
Wow. Holy
Shit.
crap.
That was around the time when John Cena had that match with Kevin Federline on Raw.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh my, please don't get me started on that. I remember that.
All right, but anyway, but yeah, there's a good chance MJF could lose that title, and he's trying to avoid surgery, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to. But we'll have to see.
You know what? That's funny that you said that, because I was just listening to the Something to Wrestle About podcast about Batista, and they were talking about how prior to Survivor Series, they were saying that Batista needed back surgery, but he was trying to avoid it, because he was the champ at the time. You know what I mean? So
2005, right? 2005.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Most people in that position would do the same thing. You're the champ. I don't want to get surgery. You know what I mean? Because you're on the top of your game. You know what I mean? And getting surgery means you got to miss time. So I get that.
And I guess that explains why he got eliminated in that match so early.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was all taped up and everything. I remember that. Yeah, he was all taped up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then right after that, he had the match with Mark Henry where he got hurt, and that's when he was out for 6 months. And he had the forfeit.
Well, actually, yeah, he actually got hurt in a dark. It was a house show. He got hurt.
I know. He got hurt in a house show match with Mark Henry, and that's where it happened.
Oh yeah, but at that time they played it off where he got hurt on TV. Remember?
Yeah, I remember. But then, after when the Mark Henry thing happened, they actually legit mentioned it on TV that Mark Henry did put him out.
Oh, in a house show. Oh yeah, I don't remember hearing that. Yeah,
because he was starting to feud with Mark Henry at the time, and then they mentioned that.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I don't remember mentioning that though. But yeah, okay. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man, with that situation. So
I will say this: if they lose MJF for a significant amount of time, that is a major blow to them. A blow that they cannot afford right now.
No, CM Punk has just returned to the WWE, and you lose MJF. My God.
And they just lost Adam Cole a couple months ago. QT Marshall just resigned. I know he's not as big of a deal as those guys, but still. And Sting's about to retire soon. Sting's retiring in March.
Right.
And also, I saw the pictures of Dynamite last night at the Target Center in Minneapolis. And another half-empty crowd, bro. Another half-empty crowd.
Kind of stings me when I see stuff like that.
Yeah, it bums me out, bro, because their show is still pretty solid for the most part. It's not perfect, specifically with their women's division, which I'll get into in a few minutes. But yeah, it's still a solid show. It bums me out to see them being so cold right now, and the crowd attendance being so low. Sucks.
Man, I know.
But yes, let's get into that Sting announcement real fast. Sting's final match at Revolution will take place March 3rd. At the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina, the very place where we had that 45-minute match with Ric Flair back at the first Clash of Champions in 1988. Very same arena.
And that is an arena as a very popular wrestling arena, by the way.
Oh, I'm very aware. I'm very aware. That's where
I would like to consider that the Madison Square Garden of the South.
Maybe to a degree. That's where Unforgiven 98 was with the Undertaker and Kane Inferno match. And that's also where the Rock This Is Your Life segment took place.
True, but you got to think about they have a lot of their good AWA matches back in the day, like Ric Flair.
NWA, bro.
NWA, yeah. They have a lot of that little classic matches in that building, you know what I mean? So that's a very popular place,
Also, Survivor Series 2001 took place there.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But yes, that was the very same site of where Sting had his breakout performance match against Ric Flair at that first Clash of Champions. And yeah, him and Flair had a promo together with Tony Schiavone last night on Dynamite talking about it. And I think I actually might go to that show. It's actually only a 5-hour drive for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I looked it up on the Google Maps yesterday. It would be cool to be there for Sting's last match. It would be a good moment.
I think you should do it.
I think I might. But what was not such a good look was Ric Flair's promo that was taped for Rampage last night, where he basically invited all the girls in the audience who are 18 to 28 years old to meet him at his hotel room and to not bring their boyfriends or their husbands with them.
Oh my Lord. Can't be saying that, man.
I know he used to say that line back in the day, but this dude's like 74 years old now. It doesn't have the same effect.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's kind of, you kind of come off creepy when you say that, man. Like that, nah.
And also, it's a different vibe now too. It's a different time
Yeah.
we're living in with the whole cancel culture shit and all
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And not to mention the whole hot water Ric Flair got himself into with the whole plane ride from hell situation. And then when all that came out a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
But he did put out a statement today talking about the whole thing and basically calling out people who were criticizing him for, like, being in AEW and, still being a part of the show and all that. This is what he had to say. I am so tired of hearing all this negativity. I don't need to work and I don't need the money. Can I simply enjoy being by my dear friend Sting's side for the next few months without so much hatred? I know I'm old, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy life. I have earned the right to do whatever I want, and I'm exactly where I want to be. I appreciate everything, Tony Khan, but I'm more than willing to walk away if I'm embarrassing you and your company. All I can say is I'm sorry.
Well, at least he apologized though, but at the same time, you got to remember, you got to, at a certain point, you can't just do and say whatever you want. You know what I mean? You got to remember your age. You got to be careful what you're doing, man. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah, definitely. You can't be saying that shit nowadays, and especially like with girls that are 18. I know they're legal and all, but that shit is still creepy.
It is creepy. That's the one word to put it at. Like, don't you can't be saying that, man.
If he said like 20, if he said 25 to 35, that would have been different. But yeah, 18 to 28.
Look,
And isn't he married?
I think he is.
I remember they were getting separated, but I think they got back together.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about him and his wife are divorced or anything or separated. No, I think he's still married.
Yeah, he actually got interviewed by Shannon Sharp last week. It was a long interview.
Oh wow.
And he actually broke down his Mount Rushmore for wrestling.
Oh, I think okay.
He put Hogan, Austin, Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker.
Okay.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp was actually surprised he didn't include The Rock in that list. And he also said LeBron's better than Jordan.
Flair said that.
He did say that. Yes, he did. I don't agree, but I won't denounce LeBron's accomplishments and what he's done because LeBron's a fucking incredible player. One of the most incredible players we'll ever see in the NBA, period, past, present, or future. There will never be another LeBron James. I can't say he's better than Jordan, and in some cases I can't even say he's better than Kobe, but he's a legend regardless.
True. And like I said, man, when he leaves, I'm telling you, everybody's going to miss him, just like John Cena.
Yes, they will miss him. But yeah, Ric Flair needs to really watch what he says. I hope he doesn't walk away from the company. I hope he does stick around for Sting's last few months. But yeah, he can't be saying shit like that anymore. And I heard they're going to edit that part out of the Rampage taping when it comes out tomorrow night.
Oh, okay.
But with all the, negativity around AEW lately, another thing that's not really looking too good for them is the fact that Warner Brothers Discovery is the favorite to get the TV rights deal with WWE for next year, for 2024. So Raw could very possibly be on TNT by this time next year.
Holy crap, that sounds weird.
It does sound weird.
Man, it's one thing when, you left USA back in 2000 to go to the TNN network, which was a country station. But to go to TNT, that's weird, man. That's always been, especially with wrestling, that's always been like, WCW and all that stuff, you know what I mean? But like, man,
and now AEW.
Yeah.
If WWE ends up signing with Warner Discovery, it's a bad look for AEW. Fuck, it's a very bad look for them.
Very bad, yeah.
If they end up getting booted from Warner Discovery, they're going to have to change the name of their TNT and TBS titles.
Jeez.
Nah, but I hope that doesn't happen. I know AEW is going through a rough time right now, but I don't want them to go out of business. And anybody who wants them to go out of business is a fucking idiot. You don't have to like it. You don't have to be a fan of it. But having AEW around is good for the wrestling business.
not just for wrestling business though, but just for just the wrestling world in period, man. Because before AEW even jump onto the scene, I always wanted to have like, man, what if there was like another like a wrestling or company that could maybe a little compete with WWE a little bit, you know what I mean? And I got my wish, and I'm quite sure everybody felt the same way too. But look, I would hate to see them go out of business, and I like the fact how, hey, there is another wrestling outlet you could watch other than WWE. I like that. You know what I mean? It got to the point where hell, I even went to their shows last year. You know what I mean? So just be a fan. Look, we're not telling you to support whoever picks sides though, but at the same time, just be happy.
Yeah, because I was dying for an alternative for years, like a really close alternative. And yeah, we
Hmm.
finally got that. And yeah, it's not perfect. They have their issues. Yeah, and even Britt Baker put up a post yesterday talking about how MJF got 7 minutes of promo time last night and Christian got 10 minutes of promo time last night. But in all of this year alone, she's got 0 minutes of promo time.
Mm.
I know she's taking time off right now, but it's weird that she would be saying that because she's probably been the one that whole women's division in AEW has been centered around for the majority of the time it's been around.
Yeah.
AEW does need to work on their women's division. They need to make their women's division a lot more of a priority than they have been.
Yeah,
That's
I
probably
agree.
one of their weakest points.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and like I said, they're not perfect by any stretch, but I still do enjoy their show for the most part, and their pay-per-views usually do deliver. But it's funny, I saw this post the other day saying that fans never wanted an alternative from WWE. They just wanted WWE to be better. And now that WWE's been forced to be better, especially like over the last year or so, now there's not as much of a need for AEW anymore, which I disagree with, which I completely disagree with.
Just ever since we always want to go back to the '90s, how like we had alternatives. You know what I mean? To pick and just enjoy both. But I mean, we have that now, but it's
Yeah,
everybody's complaining about it. But
you don't have to pick sides. You can like both shows. If you like WWE more, fine. If you like AEW more, fine. But you are allowed to like both. You don't have to participate in this whole fan war bullshit.
mhm.
But also, other favorites to get the TV rights deal with WWE are Disney, Amazon, and NBC Universal is like in fourth place right now.
Man, Disney always got to put their nose in everything, man. I don't know. I'm not okay with the Disney thing in it, man. They kind of tend to screw things up. Star Wars is a prime example of that. When it comes to their shows, they do a good job, but when it came to the sequel trilogy, the last three Star Wars movies that they made, they did absolutely horrible about it, and it was all Disney's fault. So the fact that I see Disney kind of like putting their input, trying to like get a partnership deal with WWE, I'm not for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd rather not see them go to Disney either. Like if they were to go to Disney, they would be on FX, from what I understand.
Hmm.
And overall, I just hope they just stay on USA. I don't feel like there's any need for them to leave USA unless there's like a money issue or something, or they're getting more money from
True.
another place. But I hope they stay with USA because SmackDown's going to be on USA, so they might as well.
True, man. Like,
But the announcement won't be made until January, so we'll see what's up.
okay.
Yeah, and have you noticed Jade Cargill's kind of not been around lately?
I noticed that too. I think she's still, getting trained in the developmental right now, or
Yeah, I read a story that's saying that she's like training there 1 to 2 days a week. And even Triple H opened up in the press conference when he was asked about it, saying that, when Jade came to us, she was very limited because of her training. We're not in any rush to put her on TV or like to throw her into the mix. We're just taking our time with her, but she'll, debut when she's ready.
hopefully, I don't know. I mean, I would love to see her part of the Royal Rumble.
I could see her debuting in the Royal Rumble match. I don't think she's going to win, but I could see her debuting.
No, 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 no.
And I always maintain it. Like, she has that star power and she has that presence, but ring work wise, she's not that experienced. She still needs time.
Yeah, that's why they're just taking her time with her right now, and just be patient with her. But look, I would like to see her in a Royal Rumble match.
I think we will see her in the Royal Rumble match. I think we will.
Yeah, so I just can't wait. Period. My God, the build up is going to be amazing. Um, I think for the first time this past Monday, I was very eager to watch Raw after what happened on Saturday. And as a wrestling fan, I'm just very genuinely happy to see all of this, that excitement. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, going in next year is going to be wild. If it's just CM Punk, I'm telling you right now, CM Punk, if he really says that he changed as he says that he did, I'm telling you right now, next year is going to be so crazy. It's not even funny, especially leading up to WrestleMania. I'm telling you right now, WrestleMania is going to be bigger than ever. I'm at a point where I'm like, well, damn, I'm very grateful and blessed that I went last year. I am, but damn it, I'm just like, man, if man, if things are a little bit different, you know what I mean? If I wasn't, kind of things in my life are a little bit different. I have a car now. I'm about to move in with my girlfriend. So financial part, things are a little bit different. If it was, a little bit more different, then yeah, I'll like, you know what? Fuck, I'm going to go to WrestleMania. I'm going to go to Philadelphia. You know what I mean? But I'm actually a little jealous that, like, damn, I want to go because of what just happened and the possibilities of what's going to happen.
Yeah, WrestleMania season is going to be crazy, man. I think this is going to be the craziest WrestleMania season we've probably had since maybe since 2008. I wasn't even watching at the time, but I remember parts of the build being pretty wild and crazy. I think this year might top it though. I think this year will probably top that one though.
I mean, 2008 was, it was good, but I say would be like the wildest build up? No, I mean, I think
14 had a crazy build. 17,
yeah, 17,
19.
28, yeah, 17, 19, 28.
Going old school, WrestleMania 5 with Hogan and Savage, or WrestleMania 3, how can we forget?
Mm.
But yeah, WrestleMania is still a few months away. But before we get out of here, let's get into some other stories. Congratulations to Ty Mello and Sammy Guevara as Ty Mello gave birth to a baby girl.
Really?
Yes, I believe the baby was born either yesterday or Tuesday, but yes, they now have a baby.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to the two of them. And also, I heard Sammy Guevara was actually cleared to return to the ring also.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
Oh, that's good to hear.
And also, congratulations to Alexa Bliss and her husband, as she also gave birth to a baby girl named Hendrix. And it's so funny, her baby was actually born on Jimi Hendrix's birthday.
Ah, that's funny. I've kind of, okay. I see that.
Yeah, so congratulations to both couples. Wish them both the best. But in not so happy news, the WWE Hall of Famer Sonny this past Monday was sentenced to 17 years in prison for the incident that happened a year and a half ago where she was driving drunk without a license and she ran into another car and killed a man. So yeah, she will be in prison for the next 17 years and she will have 8 years of probation following that.
Not surprised. Look, sucks, but look, this is what happens when you constantly make mistakes and you don't learn from them. So you killed somebody, and I'm not trying to say like I hate Sonny, but it's just this is what you get. You reap what you sow.
It's sad, bro. Before we actually got on the show, I was actually watching that Dark Side of the Ring episode about her and Chris Candido and just seeing where she was like in that 96 period, seeing where she was then to this. And I don't know if you saw the pictures of her like in her prison uniform and like seeing what she looks like now. Bro, it's sad.
I
It
know.
makes me sad to see that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't feel sorry for her, admittedly, because she had more than enough chances. She had more than enough chances, and she blew every single last one of them. And even worse, she never showed any accountability. She never showed any remorse. None of that shit. And with all those factors, yeah, it's hard for me to feel bad for her in that sense.
This is what happens when you constantly make mistakes, man. Especially at your age, and making reckless mistakes like that to the point where like you literally just took another person's life. No, I'm sorry. Like
Countless times where she got arrested, was on probation, had her license suspended. Yeah, it sucks it had to come to this, but it seems like this is the only way she'll learn her lesson. It's sad that it had to come to this.
Like I said, this is what happens. That's the way of life. You don't learn from your mistakes, and you constantly making the same mistakes again, and it gets to the point where you're endangering yourself, but also you're endangering others. This is what happens.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. But also, one last story before we go. Undertaker recently opened up about his Mount Rushmore of small wrestlers, and this was his list: AJ Styles, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Kurt Angle.
I'm surprised he mentioned Benoit. That's crazy, though. But I mean, hey, that's his opinion.
I'm surprised he didn't mention Brett and Sean.
Yeah. Sean's what, 6'1"?
Something like that, yeah. Weird, but pretty good list. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised he didn't include those two. I probably would have put Brett in over Benoit because he actually worked with Brett a lot more. He even said himself like he didn't work with Benoit that much, but the few times he did work with him, like he was a beast.
Of course.
And hell, Guerrero he didn't work with that much either.
No, not really. Just a
couple tag matches, and then they had that 4-way at Armageddon 04. But yeah, it's a pretty good list for the most part. I figured he'd put in AJ in there because he had his last match with AJ, and also Angle because of that great match they had at No Way Out in 06.
Oh yeah,
that's one of his favorite matches.
Taker
actually,
and Kurt always gel with each other perfectly. So it's not a surprise that he put Kurt on that list. So
I'll never forget one of the more infamous matches that took place at Survivor Series 2000, where the Undertaker was wearing those weird ass pants.
Yeah, an unknown mystery on why he wore those pants. Maybe he lost his pants, and I don't know.
I think he said he borrowed that pair of pants from Godfather.
Really?
I think he did say that. Yes.
Oh God! It does look like something that Godfather would wear. Lord,
looks like something MC Hammer would have worn like in a music video in 1990. Ironically, the year he debuted.
Right.
All right, but anyway, I think we've said what we needed to say today. We're on the road to the Royal Rumble. A lot of interesting things going down. A lot of interesting stories that can tell within the next few months. And yes, CM Punk is back. Randy Orton is back. Also, R-Truth is back. We didn't talk about him enough either. But yes, R-Truth is back too. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting ride in the next few months. And also, one more thing we forgot to mention about Punk. He did mention AJ during his promo when he said AJ's doing fine and she sends her regards.
Yes, I remember that. That was good for him to mention that. So that was good.
Yeah, and who knows? She might make a cameo eventually soon too.
You may never know. Anything could happen.
Yes, anything can happen. And that's the slogan that wrestling is all about. Anything can happen. And also, more importantly, never say never.
True.
So until next time, for John Randall, this is Conscious Kurt with another edition of the Clash of Champions. Take care. Have a good one. And remember, don't be an asshole in real life or social media because that shit is for the birds.
It's for the birds.
Have a good one, guys.